I hate
No.
Miyamoto or whoever thought of it.
I thought the Wii was going to be really awesome, and then it came out and it wasn't. And so I've learned my lesson about, being highly anticipative of Nintendo products. And I think everyone else should as well, because nothing they've released in the past 2 years has been any good. But
Bold
that's just
statement.
me.
Bold statement. But anyway,
Okay, and with that, we need to move on to our next topic, which is Steam on Mac. Tell us about it, Stump.
Okay, as you probably have heard, recently Steam, well, a little bit ago, Steam announced that it was going to be releasing some of its core games and some additional games onto the Mac platform. And this caused great excitement among people who have Macs and not PCs. And the other day, it came out, and sure enough, what they said happened. And now there are games on the Mac that were made within the last 10 years.
welcome to Valve time.
Yeah,
Woo!
just about. They just about fucking released the games.
Yes, they actually have games. Some classics are in there, including some LucasArts classics. All kinds of indie games, some of which I've never heard of, and other good ones though, like World of Goo, for example.
Hmm.
So they have a wide variety of games which take very little graphical power to run.
And as they should, as they're running on a Mac.
So,
But
because I really don't care about Mac, what do you think this has an impact on PC gaming? Do you think, more devs are going to lean towards Mac, or do you think they're going to, are you like cross promote it, longer release times, or how is that going to work?
I don't think it'll make more devs lean towards Mac. I think if a dev was considering Mac, they'd make games for it. It's just slightly easier for them to get the games out, I reckon.
Yes, most
Because
definitely.
Macs now have a window into PC gaming, they can finally buy the fucking games. I mean, whenever do you walk in a game store and see a Mac section? Never for me. Never.
You also don't see a PC section anymore either.
Yeah,
At least not stateside.
uh,
Really? Oh.
no,
Yeah.
like even like we have EB Games here, which is Canadian Game Stops. Uh, the sections now are incredibly small, and newer games they're not even bothering to stock anymore. Like Borderlands, they weren't even going to stock until there was such a huge demand in the store. They got a couple copies in.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's amazing.
it's
Well,
it's really going digital. It really is.
it is, but you're saying, they didn't get Borderlands in until there was a demand for it. That means that there's an audience there who wanted to buy it and couldn't. I'm saying, is there really an audience on the Mac for games? People who buy Macs don't buy it to play
Here,
games
here,
on.
Yeah,
here,
exactly.
here
You're
was. Oh, go
uh,
ahead. Sorry.
okay. You're paying a lot more for the same hardware, and it's not 100% true, I'm sure, but in general, when you buy a Mac, you're buying the whatever the OS and the ease of use or whatever it is you buy a Mac for. Well, you're paying a lot of money for that Mac label and that Mac software. So,
Mm.
yeah, you're paying a lot of money more than like the cheapest Mac you can get is over $1,000, I believe. I'm not looking this up, but
I that on average that would be correct.
yes, in general. But you
Yeah.
can build a capable and fine regular gaming computer for about $500 from scratch. 700 if you want to throw in a monitor. That's like a nice monitor.
Yeah. See,
Yeah.
my biggest like what the fuck moment whenever they said Steam is going to Mac was okay. So they're going to get all of the older games and a couple of the Valve-based newer ones. So whenever new generation of games come out, where we can just pop in a new video card and CPU, do they have to just buy new Macs? Is like is it practical? Like is that practical? Like
I see where you're coming from. I think with the Mac release, if you buy a Steam game on Mac, it's going to come with a certain graphical benchmark. Like it's going to analyze your system and say this is what you're running it at, no fucking questions. And I think that's the biggest problem because they can't change their hardware and just update the drivers. Macs aren't made for that. They're made for ease of use. Basically, the way a Mac works is you install it, you use it, and it's really easy. But if you ever need to do anything with it, you're fucked. You're royally, royally fucked. And you have to take it into somebody who knows what they're doing, and you have to pay them a lot of money. That is how a Mac works. And so with games, they're not going to be able to change the, settings. They're not going to be able to do any of that because they can't. And I think that's the biggest problem with this.
I would say the biggest problem is if you're buying a Mac, you're not buying it to play games. And even with the inclusion of Steam now on the platform, you're still not going to go, oh man, I'm going to want to play some games. Time to get a
There's
Mac. It's
there
just not happening. Period. Like it's so far off from ever being a reality.
Yeah, but like 99% of people who buy Macs are buying them for the wrong reasons, so that really doesn't hold any significance at all.
Well, I bought
Yeah.
one because I was a graphic design student. I wanted to be pretentious
Well, that's fine. Like if you're buying it to do graphical work or video editing,
and be
then
pretentious.
yeah, then I think, that's great that they are actually proven to be better than PCs for that, which, that's awesome. But if you're buying a Mac just to be one of those wads who sit in a uni fucking cafeteria and just show off their MacBook Air and, you know, be a douchebag, then you're an idiot because you just spent like $800 more on that little Apple when you could have had a PC that did the exact same thing.
Exactly. Oh, how is your iPod Touch, by the way?
Hey, my iPod Touch is good, but I don't have another MP3 player, and it's also a web browser, so I wanted a next gen
Oh,
MP3, and we didn't have the Zune HDs yet, so I went with what I had.
best burn of
But
the day.
what I have to wonder is this going to be profitable for Valve? I mean, sure, there are probably some people who own Macs and they liked PC games or, they like games in general. And they're like, oh, this is good for me. I can, buy some games on my Mac. But there is nobody who is going to buy a Mac solely for buying games. So I'm wondering, are Valve really going to make a profit from putting Steam on Mac? Like, is the time they put into this going to pay off? I don't think so.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm gonna go with no, definitely.
from a
No
business
and Valve.
standpoint, though,
No
and the
Valve,
gimmick
yes.
gimmick that it is, Valve's going to make a lot of money on older product, so it probably was worth it for Valve to put at least some of their platforms over and reap more money out of Valve is a company that has a reputation for like Team Fortress 2 uh in particular of expanding the life of their games via updates and stuff. So this is just another avenue for them to make a little bit more money on that. So
Hmm.
Okay, and I have a final question. If now that they have implemented the for Mac situation, uh, if they're going to be releasing new games, so say for example Episode 3, which has been slow in coming,
Never.
uh,
It's never
if
slow.
now will you think it'll take longer because they also have to release it on Mac when it releases? How much are you going to rage if that turns out to be
well, that
fact?
was my question earlier. Is that going to slow developers down?
I don't think it's going to take any longer now. Like, because they've done it, they've gotten the source engine, they've got it working. I mean, the last game that, they're going to release Portal 2 on the Mac. That's coming out. They've already confirmed that. Left 4 Dead 2 is coming out, or is out already. I'm not entirely sure. So they've gotten Source Engine working on it, the latest iteration of Source Engine. They've got that on. So I don't think it's going to be any slower from this point forward. However, how much of the Mac development, like how much of getting Source on Mac, has been eating up from Episode 3? Like, it's entirely possible that Episode 3 has been delayed because they've been working on this. But from this point forward, not a huge problem.
I think it becomes a problem whenever you look at developers and publishers outside of Valve. If they're going to try to get their games on both forms of Steam, whether it be Mac or PC, I think that's when you're going to see longer delays within their games. If they're going to try to get, simultaneous releases. If not, then it's not going to make a lick of difference. If Mac has to wait a little bit longer, that's not going to hurt us any.
I think it wouldn't hurt anyone if Mac had to wait a little longer. Because, like we said, people who buy Macs aren't in it for the games. And they
No.
should be lucky they're getting the games at all. So I think them waiting a little bit longer isn't the end of the world. They're still going to get it. And PC gamers have to wait for games usually anyway. We have to wait for console
Yeah,
ports. So
exactly. And console ports usually suck, so enjoy your games, Mac. You're getting the port of the PC
Enjoy
of
your
the
games,
console.
PC gamers as well. You're getting the port of the port.